Aloha e ohana. It's been a rich time here in Santa Cruz where I lived for 22 years, and I had a chance to visit a very special place in my own story, a place where I've been initiated many times, a very special beach here near Santa Cruz. And I've been receiving this transmission today, this morning, around the story of love and fear as an epistemology. And I want to kind of background this transmission with a little bit of my coding here, which is that I'm going to stay in my body here, and I'm going to keep moving and allowing my body, my breath, and my full integrated intelligence to be included in this conversation that I'm having with God, which is you, which is us, which is life. Because I want to talk about human stories. Why do we have stories? What's a story for? I think story is the quintessentially human attribute that distinguishes us from the other creatures. The way that we tell stories, the way that we carry and transmit our culture through stories. Because what is a story? It's our language of expressing what's inside of ourselves to another person to see if we can collaborate in some way. See if we can work together. Stories are what bind together the cells of a tribal organism. Stories are the binding force in the cellular structure of a tribal organism. A hive, a pack. Humans are pack animals, yeah. But we're not merely instinctual pack animals, although we are very instinctual pack animals. People seem to have forgotten this. But we are very instinctual beings who are woven together in larger and more complex wholes by our stories. That's how we do it. Yeah? We are also we're also divided by our stories, right? And in every tradition, in every culture, we have these stories handed down that help us to orient ourselves to life. Sometimes we're supposed to take those stories really seriously and call them history. Sometimes we're supposed to take those stories more poetically or artistically, and we call them legends, or fairy tales, or scriptures. Or sitcoms, but they're all stories, and they're all here to help us to organize and harmonize our behavior and activity on behalf of the whole. And throughout the history of stories, especially in the modern age, hey, aloha! You hear that? Oh, mahalo, io. Two beautiful red-tailed hawks crying overhead, just there. See, you can't fake that. That's part of this story that's being told right now. forever be a part of this story that's being told now. But all of our cultures have created stories in the form of typologies of some kind. All stories have these embedded typologies. There's like a mathematics in all stories. There's story mathematics. And those mathematics we call archetypes, right? There are patterns. It's really just all language is just an attempt, and all the typologies are just an attempt to articulate and simplify repeating patterns that we see happening around us, right? And to then have some form of relationship with those patterns. So there are the sort of larger groups of archetypal typologies, like the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, or all of the different cards of the tarot deck, or the 9 Enneagram positions, or the Myers-Briggs typology, right? These are all attempts to take a really vast and ever-changing world and pay close enough attention to see repeating patterns and be able to talk about them and see how they best fit together, and how we can collaborate with those patterns most elegantly, right? So some of these are typologies that have a larger number, and then there are typologies which just bring things down to the nitty-gritty of 2. And again, this is just a diagnostic system, a story that we use to sort out what's going on here. In the ancient east of China, the 2 was yin and yang, right? The core binary. An incredibly elegant and beautiful system, which allows us to see forces at work and polarities at work in life, and how to witness and collaborate with these polarities, and to harmonize these polarities of yin and yang into a whole, right? How to work with the polarities. And then in the West, we got the fundamental polarity of good and evil. Good and evil. That's another core typology that has played itself out and replicated itself through Western ideology. It still is. Ubiquitous. Good and evil. Right? God and the devil. The Christians and everybody else. The true faith in everybody else, of whatever kind. And so that's another typology. That when we use that as our root typology, that produces a certain kind of behavior, and it produces a certain kind of culture, and it produces a certain kind of effect on the world around us, in big and little ways, in global and intimate ways. But I would like to propose another typology, another way of reading the universe. This is the core typology of all of my work in the world. It's the culmination and kind of bubbling spring of my own joy and my own emerging capacity to meet the world with unwavering creative love, which is my highest intention. And my deepest devotion. And in the typology of love, we see the universe through the lens of love and fear. That everything we see, just like in the Eastern tradition, everything we experience is some dance between the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, the light and the dark, the soft and the hard, all opposites. This is never not a relevant polarity to witness the universe from. That there's no good and evil, there's no right and wrong, there's only growth and decay. There's only penetration and yielding. And then there's the disharmony of those forces when they grind against each other. There's the ways that we can diagnose the world in its disharmony through the understanding of the interplay between those forces. Right? So just like that. Whereas, if we experience the world as a battle between good and evil, and anything we experience here is either good or it's evil. It's either of God or it's of the devil. Right? And by the way, I am, born sinful, and my only redemption lies outside of the world, this physical world. I shouldn't hope that this world can be redeemed. Redemption is only outside there. So don't even worry about that. Just believe something. This is a caricature of a story about a story. But we can see that what kind of a world that produces, because we live in it. It has colonized the entire planet. And what I'm proposing is that everything that we can experience here, from the most intimate sensation deep inside my body, every emotion, every thought in my mind, every picture of the world that I look at, every sound that I hear, can be diagnosed at the level of frequency, can be seen as either and experienced in its quality of love or fear, in the qualitative experience of love or fear. Because love, we intuitively know love. We deeply know love. We know love in our body. Love in our body is, it's relaxed. And yet it is structurally stable. It's possible to be relaxed and structurally stable because that's the balance point of the yin and the yang. Love is harmony. Love is that balance point. And fear is what happens when the yin and the yang are out of harmony in some way. Fear is the only other force that acts upon humans. We're either in a frequency of fear or we're in a frequency of love. Everything that we experience in any moment, we're either encountering some form of fear or we're encountering some form of love. So I want to invite some breaths into the possibility, into just like shifting perceptual gears together for a moment. To imbibe the possibility. You can put it down whenever you want and walk away from the possibility. But in this moment, if you're here, curious about this dance of love and fear, maybe take a moment. Shake and breathe and move your spine and let your body become alive in this possibility. And feel for what does love feel like? Like smile for a moment. Smile for a moment and ask yourself, what does love feel like? What does love feel like? Smile and ask yourself that question. And see what happens. I don't know what happens inside of you. I only know what happens inside of me when I do that. But love feels good. Love feels pleasurable. Love has a golden light, a pink, a rose gold light in it, inside of me when I close my eyes and smile. Love has tenderness and sort of unwavering kindness inside of it. And what does love sound like? Does love sound like screeching? What does love sound? So just like ask yourself, what does love sound like? What does love sound like? Oh, I hear the laughter of babies. I hear innocence. I hear the play of children. What does love sound like? The cooing of my lover. The sweet, sweet sounds of the ocean lapping up against the shore. Love sounds like birds and coqui frogs. Love sounds like beautiful music. Oh, soothing, healing frequencies. That's what love sounds like to me when I ask. And what does love look like? What does love look like? Love looks like kindness. Love looks like a smile. Love looks like clarity in the eyes. Love looks like good posture. Love looks like feeding this body. Plenty water, nourishing food, exercise, movement, affirmation, and appreciation. That's what love looks like to me. That's what love does. Love gives. Love gives. And love receives. Love doesn't sell. Love doesn't seek a profit of any kind. Love seeks only the mutual prosperity of our collaboration. Love seeks only for all of us to smile more and frown less. Love seeks only peace and creative goodwill. That's love. What does love do when you close your eyes and smile and ask? What does love do? How does love love me? Love loves me by seeing to my needs. And it always has, and it always will. And the more I engage with love and collaborate with love, the more love I experience in my life. Oh, love flows. Love is resilient and responsive and sensitive. Love is listening. Love anticipates needs and sees to them lovingly. without any strain of obligation, without any passive tension or a sense of owing someone something, to be pushing. Love just allows, accepts. Love says yes to what is, and so this is the dance of love. This is just a little story that we can tell here today, or that we find telling itself inside of us when we ask the right questions and attend within with the right quality of curiosity and breath and movement. When we stay in the body, when we allow the body to be intimately involved in our inquiry. Oh. And then there's also fear, right? Fear that, fear is the polarity to love. It's love's dance partner. And fear is not bad or wrong. Fear is not evil. Fear is not the devil. We don't have to violently vanquish fear. We don't have to forcibly overcome fear. We don't have to avoid or bury fear. Pretend it's not there. That's not how it works. That's not how love works. Love loves fear. Love loves fear. Love's not afraid of fear. But fear is definitely afraid of love. Fear is terrified that love wants to obliterate fear, when all love wants to do is just hold fear until it settles down and becomes manna, energy. It can become alchemical ingredients for something beautiful to be created. But we all experience fear. And when we frown and we ask, how does fear feel? You don't have to, you can stay with it as long as you want. How does fear feel? Frown. Just let your body express it. How does fear feel? Fear is, it's paralyzing. Fear is when I let myself feel fear, I'm not afraid of feeling fear. I'm not afraid of allowing fear to have a grip on every cell of my body consciously, because I love fear and I am not a victim of fear in any way. So I allow myself to feel fear when I feel fear present, the quality and the flavor of it. But how does fear feel? How does fear sound? How does fear taste? How does fear talk? What stories are engendered by fear? Engendered by fear. Once you simplify the diagnostics into, is this love or fear talking right now? In whatever language life talks in. Feeling, sensation, emotion, mental picture, situation, relationship, words. Is this the language of love or fear? Is this the frequency of love or fear that is compelling my attention right now? That wants to take the lead here? Because we are, as personally as it's very easy to take ourselves, people, my fellow people, my fellow human beings, my fellow identities, my fellow separate seeming bodies. It's not personal. And the forces of love and fear are not personal in the way that we talk about taking things personally. We are just, in some ways, architecture or hardware for love to fear and play, love and fear to play out this dance. We're either conducting love or we're conducting fear in any given moment. And, the theory goes for me, the holistic theory goes for me that, for one, the more I'm conducting fear, the more I attune my ear, the more I'm conducting fear, and the more my ear is attuned to fear, the more of a comfort zone I build in fear and a defendedness to the world, right? The more I'm actually contributing to the overall body of fear, and the less I'm thriving as a organic flowering of consciousness designed to dream love and embody love and manifest love. The more I let fear lead in my life, the more I give my energy and attention and will over to fear, then the more degeneration I will experience. And conversely, the more I give myself over to love, the more I keep attuning my ear to finer and subtler and more beautiful frequencies of love, the more I listen inwardly and feed and nurture the feelings of love inside of myself. And the more I bring my loving presence and awareness to the feelings of fear inside myself and dissolve them through my breath, through my movement, through my loving awareness, then the more regenerative thriving I will experience, the more I will flourish in love. So this is the basis for this sense of love and fear as a fun lens to put on, to be able to see the world through. Not the only reasonable or valid lens, not the lens anybody should use or should not use, just a lens that I invite you to try on in this way and see how the world looks and feels and how you are inspired to respond to that, how you reorient your own inner sense of being around that possibility. And if there's doubt, if there's fear, if there's some kind of contraction or resistance to what I'm saying, that's okay. Hi, you're welcome here. All of that is so welcome right here. I don't want you to push past anything inside of you to do anything that I'm inviting you towards. I just want you to ease in wherever you are. But for those of you who feel curious and open, who may have a little bit of fear present in trying something really new, give it a go. So simple. It's the essence of simplicity. And somebody who's listening for love cannot be lied to. Someone who is devoted to love cannot be deceived. and cannot be used by fear any longer to fulfill the agendas of fear. The more I suffuse my life in love, the more sensitive and ecstatically alive I become. And this love and this story about what feels like love is really meant to restore the tribe of humanity, one relationship at a time. This story is meant to help us remember what matters most when it seems like we have hopelessly forgotten as a species. These stories can help us to collaborate, to rise to the occasion together of the tremendous challenges of injustice, of environmental exploitation, of political polarization, of an incredibly obese and unhealthy human collective body, obese and starving, all at the same time. The more we, as in I, as in we, cultivate this love, and this sense of love, and this commitment to love, and this commitment to embodying the frequency of love here now, then the more this music will be reflected in our togetherness. The more these stories can knit together our tribes. And find your story if this isn't it. But find your story, because it's going to knit you together with the people that you are meant to be here to do this with. We're all here to do a pretty special thing at a really, really special time on planet Earth. And we're all meant to do that thing in intimate groups of people who we can share these kinds of stories with, these kinds of deep intuitions, fundamental intuitions about what matters most, and commit ourselves together to a path of more and more effortlessly, joyfully, easily, creatively, spontaneously, groundedly, bringing forth love into the world in all of its forms, as a smile to a stranger, as a compliment to a stranger, as an unlooked for gift, as feeding people, as putting roofs over people's heads, as music that inspires the heart, as a dance that inspires someone's feet, as a permissionary of being a little different than everybody else, or a lot different than everybody else, that touches the heart of somebody who has secret gifts that they feel very vulnerable about revealing to the world. So when I call these prayers together, and when I gather in the music and gather in the conscious harmonics of devotional song and breath and somatic prayer, we come together in the spirit of this love. We come together to anchor ourselves deeply in love, and then welcome whatever comes, whatever fears come. We get to just welcome with love and hold, tenderly embrace. Everybody's invited. And then we get to celebrate and heal inside of that together and cohere all of our breath. Because if one body that's holistically coherent in breath, movement, feeling, sound, intention, and frequency is to that degree more beautiful, more powerful, more elegant, more creatively resourceful than what would a whole field of bodies that are each coherent within themselves and then co-cohering to a larger coherence that transcends and includes all of us. How much more resilient, how much more resourceful, creatively ecstatic, healthy, trusting, and collaborative, synarchic, non-hierarchical in the rigid sense would such a body be? Hey, this is the prayer. This is what we're moving forward in love here at the Human Thriving Project. This one, Joshua, Kaylee Hathaway, and anyone else who wants to play. Mahalo for taking the time to put your attention on this transmission. Aloha. Aloha. Aloha.